Hello guys, hope you're well. It's been a couple of weeks since I've done a Rambles video, and I'm going to try to steer clear of being overly negative on things going forward, just because I think it's quite exhausting personally, and I don't think anyone's really watching me talk about negative things too much. I'd be very surprised, at least, if people are only watching the Rambles videos. So yeah, hope you're well. Lots of things going on behind the scenes. Probably the busiest I've ever been at this time of year in terms of flow and how things are getting scheduled in the back, and I'm feeling good, genuinely feeling really good. I'm just busy, and I'm very aware of that word and how that word can be like almost dismissive of, oh, I can't do that, I'm busy, like, I'm just not going to do that, I'm too busy to deal with that, you know what I mean? But I think busy can be a good thing sometimes, because I don't know about you guys, but I can't just sit around doing nothing. I fidget. I can't just be. I have to always have something to aim towards, you know, which is probably why this channel exists. So yeah, there's a couple of things I want to talk about, and then I'm going to go for a walk and let my head breathe a bit. So yeah, the first one I want to talk about is a very, very recent thing, so I might just have to get this up raw without actually any editing. But there's a guy on YouTube at the moment that seems to be absolutely blowing up, and I think I'm pretty late to this party at this point, but I don't know his real name. But he is known on the internet. You'll probably know him, because the amount of times he gets like noticed in public is mental on his videos. And I really don't think he's paying people to do that whilst he's recording. Is a guy called #Brady. Now, he has been uploading daily YouTube videos on his second channel, which is called #Brady 2.0. And I think he is one of the funniest people on YouTube. He's also very, I think this is like a D&D term, but I would consider him to be chaotic good. I wish I could edit these videos and add in what I'm talking about, but there was recently a video where he's got this big plot of land with all of his cars on, because he's obviously got a couple of quid. And what does he do? He tries to start a fire so that he can burn some old rubbish in his house. And he remembers that in his storage area, he's got a firework. Now, this firework is like this big, and he's got this like galvanized bin, and he's like, I can't light this bit of cardboard with like this lighter fluid, which cardboard shouldn't need lighter fluid as well. It should just burn organically, you know. But he's quite impatient from what I've seen in the last couple of videos I've watched. And he ends up sticking a firework in this galvanized bin, and shit just starts going mental. Stuff starts flying around the place, and fireworks are like pinging off, and I think one of them hits his vans. And I'm just like, what is actually happening here? Like, this guy is terrorizing Derby, but also something that he is very, very good at. And I don't necessarily think that he would even do this just for a YouTube video, but it's obviously good to have a narrative, especially if you're uploading every day, because I can't even imagine how stressful that must be. Is one of his videos is he tries to give away a car to someone that's just passed their driving test. So he goes to this place, he buys a car, he seems to buy a lot of Fiat Pandas, and he quotes that they are the best cars for like daily use ever. So he buys this like 2007 Fiat Panda, which is going to be cheap to insure and stuff if you're a first-time driver. Shows up to this driving test centre, and he's got like this cardboard thing, like he's at an airport, like Africa, you know, looking for this person, you know, holding this thing up, so when they get off the plane, people know exactly where to go, and then they get the taxi or whatever. He's holding this sign up, and it says, "Have you just passed your driving test?" And I think, wow, this is actually quite wholesome that he's actually willing to, like, you know, spend a couple of grand. He literally can't give this car away to people because everyone nowadays, I don't know if this is just a UK centric thing, but no one wants like the potential catch that doesn't even exist in this scenario. And he has to actually ask people, I think it's 4 times, if they want a car. I'm just like, oh my God, like, this guy's like trying to be philanthropic and he's actively being told no. I think as well, for some of his Christmas stuff in December, he was like trying to give people 50 quid cash just in person if he bumped into them. And some of them were like, I don't want your money. And I'm just thinking, Jesus Christ, like, I don't know if people just think there's like an ulterior motive to it. And there's this whole thing online of like doing a good deed just to monetize it on your YouTube channel. Is that a good thing? You know, I bought a Tesla for my friends and all that sort of stuff, you know. I bought my mum a house. I think, on a side note, you should absolutely buy your mum a house if you've got the means to. This guy literally about to crash into my car. No, cool. So yeah, like there's a lot of this like ethical, moral dilemma stuff that goes on in this world. That's really weird. A Honda Jazz literally just pulled out of that space, and now we've got a Honda Jazz back in the space, and it's a different car. Maybe Honda Jazzes are sponsoring this video. I don't know. They're not. So yeah, there's this nutter on the internet. Very chaotic, very interesting to watch his approach to very ADHD centric, very like, I'll do it right now. I'll take a picture with you right now. But yeah, he seems to be very, very successful in his hometown of Derby. So fair play to him. He's done all right. But sometimes I think to myself, fucking hell, you can't do that, mate. Like, you're like driving like a go-kart down the road at like 60 miles an hour. And I'm just like, mate, you're literally going to fucking die if you do that. But he seems to like the risk-reward sort of thing that goes on in your brain, I suppose. Second thing I want to talk about is the first time you ever do anything, regardless of anything that I'm talking about. I think people need to be better in 2026 at just accepting that it's probably going to be rubbish. And apprehension is always going to be worse than the actual situation that is going to unfold. Always, without a doubt. People procrastinating and putting things off, I think personally, is at an absolute all-time high right now. You always hear about these things with, what are they, uni? Is it like a dissertation or something like that? People always seem to leave these things to the absolute last second. And also, you know, it's nearly April. We're going through a phase now where self-employed people have to do their tax returns and their self-assessments. And people are literally leaving it until the end of March to do any of it. And I think that that's quite an irresponsible thing for people to do. Because you always think like, oh, I've got a year to do that. So what I'll do is I'll start slow and then I'll ramp up production towards the end when I've got 2 months left. But there's something in our brains that goes, do you know what? I'm going to do nothing for 10 months and then I'm suddenly going to do a shitload of work. And sometimes people don't even do that. They're literally just not able to focus. And I really do, I'm very conscious and very self-aware that I think that I'm sounding like a bit of a boomer now, but I do think TikTok has fucked us up. I really do think this whole instant gratification, lizard brain, dopamine spike You know, the other day, Chris Williamson from Modern Wisdom podcast liked one of my Instagram posts. And I thought, what the fuck is going on? And my dopamine spiked. And it was the same sort of thing when Wheatus followed me back on Twitter, sorry. Where I just had to put my phone down for a couple of hours and just, like, really think about it, you know? But I'm not trying to use this video to, like, promote myself or anything, but these things happen and your response is always going to dictate the way that you know, blah, blah, blah. I don't think you're allowed to park behind me, mate, but fair play, you know, whatever. But there's double yellows on. What else was I going to talk about? I think that's pretty much it. It was definitely going to be Mashtag Brady. That was it. Mashtag Brady, talking about apprehension always killing creativity and people putting stuff off and procrastination being the killer. And the last thing is I want to give a shout out to a YouTube channel called Jack Tesson, who I randomly came across the other day when I bought my first piece of childish clothing. I bought the Origins Power Rangers t-shirt, and I might have been one of the first people in the UK to get one, which was quite cool, because I followed Jack Tesson on Instagram and I started watching his videos on how to actually secure a piece of childish clothing, because this stuff goes so quick that it will paralyze you. It is literally, like, most of the time when they drop stuff, there's 4 items on the drop, sometimes there's more, and in about 6 minutes all of it's gone. All the sizes have gone, everything. And there's people online selling stickers which come with each piece of clothing for about the same price as the clothing, which is another level of insanity that I've never seen before. But if the game's a game and supply and demand's high enough, then why wouldn't you do that? So, you know, I've got nothing on scalpers and resellers. I think if you're filling a gap in the market that people are clearly motivated to, you know, whatever, do what you want. I do think there's a problem with, like, TGF from Childish have said this before, where they've sold 80 hoodies to one customer in the past, within like 60 seconds of their drop going live, which is it's quite greedy. And it's obvious that they're not going to wear the hoodie, you know, they're not going to wear 80 of them. They might, like, buy 5 of them for their family for Christmas or whatever. It looks great from a sales perspective. This is the whole Prime thing again, isn't it? But if you've got that money as capital to invest in something like bougie clothing, then this is like people that buy 30 houses as a development land and then make shitloads of money. You know, it's the same sort of thing. But I suppose the thing that makes the contentious point is you're actively taking it away from people that actually want to just wear the clothing or something similar to that. But yeah, going back to Jack, so I typed in on YouTube a couple of weeks ago, childish clothing review, and this guy takes his job on YouTube very, very seriously. I think he's genuinely fantastic, and I'm actually going to link him down below in the video. So if you want to check him out, please check out the description. I'm going to have him on the podcast in a few weeks, so might be a good preparation for that. But yeah, I think Jack's gone out of his way quite a lot to buy a lot of the childish clothing and also the Lone Culprit clothing, which I need to buy some more of, to be honest, because I've only got a pair of socks. And he's actually he's met Jay and Ramel individually, and TGF Bro are just about to come back, which I am super excited about, because they make quality videos. I think they're a bit mental, and I don't know how mental they're going to be when they come back properly, because it was a bit of an unsustainable business model to buy 6,000 bags of cheese and cover yourself in them and buy a shipping container, and also turn your warehouse into a supermarket to then either drive a go-kart or a car around. But if Childish Clothing's making as much money as I think it is, then they can obviously afford to do that with that money. But yeah, I hope this hasn't been too long. I'm conscious that this is a 15-minute video at this point, so I'm going to leave it there. Check out Jack down below. He does a lot more than just Childish Clothing reviews and Lone Culprit clothing reviews, but I think that's his main reason that I discovered him personally. He also writes a lot of music, and he's also done quite a few gaming videos, so check him out. And I just want to quickly thank the Childish Clothing community as well, through Discord and stuff, for just being super supportive. Don't get me wrong, some of you people are fucking mental, and all you talk about in the Discord server is what types of bread you like. But that is the very vast minority of people on there. Most people are super supportive, and they've helped me a lot trying to understand how all of this works. And I've managed to secure a shirt out of it, which I'll probably wear in another video at some point. But yeah, thanks for watching. Peace. Stay tuned. And yeah, like I said earlier, there's a lot of stuff going on in the back end, so please just bear with me. These rambling videos are going to become less frequent just because I've got too much going on in the actual podcast world. But your patience is appreciated, and I am going to eat a cream egg and go for a walk.